Interest rates are at a 30-year high, and the speed at which people were buying homes has definitely started to dissipate over the last several months. This has people thinking that there is going to be a housing market crash in the very near future. Many are looking to 2024. So, is there going to be a housing market crash in 2024? And if so, what are the things that you need to do right now? Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, first, is there going to be a housing market crash? Crash is always a tough word to try and predict. I will say that housing prices have slowed down. I said this way back in 2021 because we knew that the demand that we saw back then was not sustainable. You had people buying houses, or houses on the market rather, that were on and off within 24 hours. I had to fight to get this house, and this is the fifth house we looked at, and the fifth house that we bid on, and it was very, very difficult, and we had to overbid. That market was not going to survive, and we've already started to see that. But if there's going to be a crash in 2024, which I'm not entirely sure about, but I do know at some point housing markets do fall apart, just like the stock market. There's going to be another stock market crash. I just don't know if it's going to be in 2024 or 2026 or the next 10 years, but they do happen. So what are the things that you need to do? I've really broken this out into two categories: buyers and sellers, because it's really an opposite effect. If you are buying, you're really rooting for a housing market crash because things are going to come down to you and prices are going to be a lot less expensive, and sometimes interest rates can fall. So I'm gonna start off with the buyers, and then if you're looking to sell a home, I'll give you a few things that you need to know as well. So first, with buyers, you want to wait. Okay, I've said this many times before. We already know, or we already expect rather, that the Fed is going to raise interest rates at least one more time in 2023. So it's only going to get more expensive this year to buy a home. I don't think it really makes a whole bunch of sense unless you absolutely have to have a place to stay and you don't feel like renting and you need to get into a house that bad. I would say wait until mid-2024 when they start to cut interest rates. That's going to make it less expensive and can help to save you tens of thousands of dollars just by the Fed deciding to cut rates just a bit. I would argue the longer you wait, the longer rates are going to be cut, or at least stay stable once we get into 2024. So that's the first thing. Just wait. You don't have to rush into it. You don't have to spend more than what you have to on certain homes. And also, again, we have seen the speed in which prices are going up. That has started to taper off, so you might even be able to get a better deal, and you might even be able to get a cheaper price, a lower price on the home or homes that you may be looking for. The next one is continue to get your money right. Okay, housing is expensive, and if you're, the more that you put down for a down payment is going to mean a lower monthly payment for you, less interest because you have to borrow less. Well, remember, we've done an entire video about some of the best savings accounts out there. Many are paying well over 4%. If you can continue saving significantly and allow that money to continue to grow at 4% a year, you're going to be looking quite nice if you're looking at a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 down payment or even more. That's a lot of interest and really pretty much free money. Pretty much free money, almost guaranteed, because the interest rates can't change, but you're going to get it. It's FDIC insured. You might as well just continue saving and getting your money right as much as you can. I would also argue, you probably know this already, if you are in the market for a home and looking for a home, this is a perfect time to continue to get your credit together. This is an important factor because we've done a video around how Americans collectively have $1 trillion of credit card debt, and there has been a lot of people taking on more credit card debt than they can handle. You don't want that to be you in this scenario. If you have credit card debt, start to pay it down. It's going to make you look a lot better to the bank once you are ready to buy. I haven't done a video on credit scores. If you really want me to do that, I can. I've done media segments and stuff about it, but I don't think we have a video on the channel. But I'll tell you this right now: pay off all your balances as much as you can. Have less than 30% of your credit limit on your credit card. The lower, the better. And again, make sure you're paying that off. You don't want to get hit with interest. It also helps your credit utilization. That is the amount of credit that you use versus your limit. All of those things are going to make you look great. Also, I would argue you don't want to get any new car loans or any new credit cards probably within 18 months of you looking for a home. So if you're looking to buy in 2024 and maybe even early 2025, this is not the time for you to be applying for anything new. Sit where you are, continue paying down any debt that you have, continue saving, and be patient if you are looking to buy. Those are the plays. That is the playbook for what you need if you're looking to buy a home in the very near future. But what if you're selling? What if you're selling and you're like, hey, I don't want to sell into a market where I have to make less money or I paid X amount and not to sell it for less? What are some things that you should know and prepare for? Number one is diversify. I've always been on the side of your main primary home is not an investment. I don't really consider it an investment. I can go into why I feel like that is the case. I will also argue, and more fervently so, it ain't the best investment if you consider it that, okay? It is not as efficient. It's not as good as the stock market. But if you see it that way, you still need to diversify. If you want to see it that way, that's totally fine. But here's the thing. If that is your only thing, you're walking into a place where your home is worth less, that should not be your only asset. You want to have stocks, bonds, a business, rental property, some other things to balance it out so that you can either A, wait it out, which is what we do in the stock market, right? We see the stock market start to fall. We just wait it out, just like we did in 2022, and things were fine. So you can do that exact same thing with your home. You don't have, nobody's forcing you to sell. So if you don't have to move or have to downsize, wait it out. You can definitely do that and then sell when you think market conditions are a bit better. The next thing is make sure your expectations are in order, okay? A lot of people, and this is really just, I think, human nature, sometimes because it is our asset, our home, our car, our stock, our research, whatever it is, our business, we think we can sell it for $1 million. You might not want to do that, right? You might not want to expect that. If you get it, great, but what you don't want to do is think, hey, I bought this house for $200,000, I'm going to sell it for $1 million. Therefore, I'm going to start spending now and getting my hopes together now and rearranging all my finances, assuming that I am going to get $1 million check from selling this property. No, you don't want to start counting your chickens before they hatch, is the Southern phrase. But don't get your hopes set on a specific price. Be realistic. Speak with some realtors in your area. Look at the other properties in your area. Speak to some of your neighbors. Perhaps they have sold or have been in a similar experience. It's going to be around those prices, right? More often than not. So you want to make sure you get a good, realistic gauge for what you may be selling for. I have an experience in my own neighborhood. I bought this house 2 years ago, and when I came in, houses were selling within 24 to 48 hours. We had a neighbor that priced their house a little too high. That sat on the market for close to 45 days this year in 2023. So we know for a fact that the market has slowed down, but the price also started to come down, their price on the home, because they weren't as realistic as what they should have. They were trying to sell things like it was 2021, and it's not 2021 anymore. So you want to make sure that you are realistic. I would also argue and say that you definitely want to pay attention to market conditions. So that is talking to your neighbors, talking to your realtor. You may even be on Zillow, and I kind of think it's a little creepy, but you might start Zillowing your people's house around your neighborhood just to see how many homes are selling, how fast they were on the market, what prices they were selling for, so you can get a better realistic gauge and kind of get your expectations in order for what you may be due for, because that's going to help you to set up for whatever that next move is going to be. Now, with all this housing stuff out there, there are a few other things that you want to know. Earlier this year, we did an entire housing breakdown for 2023, but also if you're looking to diversify your assets and invest in other areas, these are the videos that you want to check out next.